I'm Daniel Berlant in the Cal Fire Information Center with the fire situation report for Tuesday, September 29th, 2020. Yesterday, critical fire weather continued to fan multiple fast-moving wildfires as over 18,700 firefighters continue to battle 27 major wildfires. Now, fortunately, those gusty winds decreased overnight, allowing firefighters to continue to build containment line and to perform structure defense. Yesterday, the U.S. Forest Service reported that the 31,000-acre lake fire down in Los Angeles County, which started on August 12th, was fully contained. That fire, I'll show you here on this map real quick, was just outside of the Santa Clarita area. So one fire now out. However, yesterday a new fire ignited also in Los Angeles County. We'll talk about that one in just a moment. But firefighters across the state responded yesterday to 19 new wildfires, including that one in LA County. Now, sadly, yesterday, the Shasta County Sheriff's Department announced that 3 civilian fatalities occurred on the Zog fire. This raises the overall fatality count since mid-August to 29. Let's talk about some of those fires, and I'll zoom back out here and move up to Northern California. We'll start with the largest wildfire that has been burning now for well over a month, and that is the August Complex. That fire has burned over 938,000 acres. It did grow significantly yesterday. In fact, since yesterday, nearly 60,000 acres were increased on this fire. The fire is 43% contained. Yesterday, the fire continued to be wind-driven, specifically to the west and even to the southwest, that by those gusty winds from the red flag warning. That prompted evacuation orders and warnings that were expanded in Trinity, Humboldt, as well as Mendocino counties. Firefighters worked in extremely difficult terrain, performing structure defense and constructing both indirect and direct containment lines. Overnight, the fire was extremely active as well, and firefighters faced with the fire making uphill terrain-driven runs. So again, August Complex still very active. We'll move over to the North Complex, which has been burning in Butte and Plumas counties. This fire is now 309,000 acres. It did grow by nearly 3,000 acres overnight. The fire is at 76% contained. Now, containment lines on the west zone continue to hold even with that wind event, and so no further growth is expected on that western zone of the fire. Firefighters are patrolling to identify and mitigate hazards, making sure the area is safe when homeowners return. And fire suppression repair does continue over the next several weeks. Looking back on this fire, though, it's this northern edge here near Bucks Lake. This is an area that is still uncontained. And then just above Little Grass Valley Reservoir, just north of it, that is where some open line is. And then also down, there's a little bit on the eastern edge, specifically near Feather Falls. So a little bit of line left to be done here. Again, this fire, though, 76% contained. And then heading over to the Redding region, specifically near Igo and Ono, this is the Zog fire. The Zog fire is now 40,000 acres. It grew 25,000 acres since yesterday, so it was again fast moving from those winds. It is now burning just about 5 miles east of Redding, as I mentioned, near Igo. And those light winds today and high temperatures, even low humidity, are going to continue to challenge firefighters as they continue to focus on structure defense as well as increasing containment lines. As I mentioned, 3 fatalities were reported on this fire. Moving on down to Napa and Sonoma counties, where we go to the glass fire. The glass fire is burning just outside of Santa Rosa, Calistoga, and St. Helena. Evacuation orders are still in place on this fire. The fire is now over 42,000 acres. It did grow 31,000 acres in the past 24 hours. And sadly, initial damage assessment on this fire, 95 structures have been destroyed. Moving over now to the Creek Fire burning in Fresno and Madara counties. This fire has burned over 305,000 acres. A little bit of growth overnight, but containment since yesterday up 5%, bringing the overall containment on this fire to 44% contained. Firefighters are continuing to mop up hotspots and ensure structures are prepared for defense in some of the most northern portions of this fire, but more out of the populated areas. So many of the evacuations have now been lifted, but it's important that residents and business owners and others returning to the area still ensure that they are safe and cautious as they return. Lastly, the SQF complex down in Tulare County. The SQF complex has grown to over 150,000 acres, a little bit of growth overnight, 500 acres, but containment efforts significantly increased. In fact, in the last 24 hours, an additional 8% in containment was made, bringing overall containment to 58% contained. Now, a thermal belt set in around the 3,500 feet elevation, which produced warm and dry conditions really in the mid-slope of this fire, which really aided in the active fire continuing to spread at those higher elevations. Below 3,500 feet in elevation, though, an inversion layer really limited fire activity and spread. Heat from really thick, heavy, dead down logs and timber remained close to the edge of the fire line, allowing the fire to continue to burn. Now, a red flag warning remains in effect for the mountains and inland valleys in Riverside and San Diego counties through Tuesday night. You can see on our fire map here exactly where that red flag warning is in place. It really is stretching from just the bottom tip of San Bernardino down through Riverside and into San Diego counties. Again, this red flag warning is still in effect for potential Santa Ana winds and low humidity. Now, many of these fires that are right here within this perimeter have been contained, but if a new fire does break out, these conditions will allow for a fire to rapidly to burn. Let's talk a little bit about our temperatures for today. First, we are going to see kind of a moderate heat risk across much of California and a little bit of a heating trend. You can see it's going up by Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday really will be the peak of our high temperatures. Looking though here at today's high temperatures in Northern California, 97 in Redding, 91 in Santa Rosa, 96 in Sacramento. Over in Southern California, 102 in Santa Clarita, 102 in Anaheim, 108 in Palm Springs, 105 in El Cajon. Just an idea of some of the hot temperatures we're expecting to see down in Southern California. Now let's talk a little bit about this year's fire season. A significant amount of acres have been burned this year. In fact, in 2020, look at this, over 3.8 million acres have burned. That compared to even our 5-year average is significantly surpassed the 5-year average and last year, which was more of a moderate year, but you can just see how significant this year's fire season has been to date. Now, it's really important that if you're evacuating from a wildfire, that you take steps to ensure that you know what to do if you're immediately asked to evacuate. So have you signed up for emergency alerts for your area? Make sure to do that in your county or your city. You can also sign up for fire alerts on our website, readyforwildfire.org. That's the latest on the fire situation in California. I'm Daniel Berlanch. Please have a fire-safe day.